What is up, guys? You got Dom back again, bringing you episode 5 of our Pokemon Sun and Moon competitive analysis series. Thank you guys so much for the support I'm getting on this series, by the way. Today up, we're going to have Marshadow, the first Ghost and Fighting type Pokemon, as well as the Pixie for this generation. Ghost and Fighting is a typing I've always really wanted, as well as Dragon and Fighting, but Ghost and Fighting in particular, just because Ghost and Fighting can hit virtually everything neutrally. It's an absolutely amazing typing, and it's offensively ridiculous. Like, this thing is going to be such a huge threat, and its stats make it even more of a threat, because not only is it very offensive, it's also incredibly bulky for what it does. So let's go ahead and look at those stats. Alright, let's look at these amazing stats. As you can see, in the thing that jumps out immediately is base 125 attack and base 125 speed. This monster is blisteringly fast. It is as fast as Weavile and as strong as Mienshao, two of the top threats in each of their tiers. This is going to be absolutely amazing when paired with the Ghost Fighting typing, and I'm really looking forward to take advantage of those. And it gets really nice coverage, as well as Technician and a lot of moves it can abuse with that. It gets base 90 special attack, so virtually any hidden power that you want to run on this is going to be Stab with the Technician boost, especially if you're Life Orb. That's going to blow things back without any investment. Like Lando and Garchomp, don't even have to worry about those. You won't have to take any recoil damage from that. Base 80 defense and base 90 special defense is absolutely amazing when paired with base 90 HP, just because base 90 HP is above average for any Pokemon in general, and then you have really nice reliable stats and defense and SPDF to follow up with that HP stat, and you have a monster that can set up in people's faces. You have something that can come in on hits, take the hit, then scare something out and revenge it. It gets Pursuit, which can even take advantage of that. It's just an absolutely amazing Pokemon stat-wise. Now, I want to make it clear that these sets are based on my experience playing the game for the last 8 years, and just things that I personally saw in the movesets and stats that I could use and would probably use. This is by no means the only viable sets to run on this, so I just want to make that clear before we go ahead and jump into these. Alright, with that being said, I want to give a shout out to nazsanity. He contacted me a couple of days ago and sent me this set, and I was like, yeah, that's totally viable. That covers pretty much everything that would ever come up against in any tier, in any situation. It's just a really nice versatile mon as far as coverage goes, be it super effective or neutral. So the set is going to be Life Orb with Hasty or Naive Nature, 252 EVs in attack, 4 EVs in special attack, and 252 EVs in speed. And the coverage moves are going to be Close Combat, which is its most powerful stab, and it can easily spam this, especially with coming from 125 base speed and 125 base attack. We've got Spectral Thief, which is the new Ghost physical move. I believe it's base 90, so that's really nice. It does the same amount of damage as a Technician boosted Shadow Punch. If you didn't want to limit your PP and you wanted something reliable, then you could also run Shadow Punch. It can't miss, which is nice. Spectral Thief, however, you do have the option to steal other Pokemon stat boosts, as well as having a move that hits very hard, so that's a really nice option to have. HP Ice or Fire, just to hit like Ferrothorn, Sizzle, or Landorus or Garchomp if that's what you ended up going up against. And then you have the finisher, which is Poison Jab. This thing's probably biggest issue is going to be against fairy types. Poison Jab will be able to 2-hit KO most fairies that it comes up against if it is Life Orb. Clefable, if it's max defense, will give this thing a little bit of trouble. Gardevoir is in a lot of trouble. Sylveon, if it's max defense, it can handle it pretty much as well as Clefable does, as well as Florges. But having a Life Orb makes it so it's really hard to switch in on. You really have to predict correctly with this thing, just because its coverage is either neutral, coming from a really large attack stat, or super effective, coming from a Life Orb or Technician. So this is just an absolutely amazing set in my opinion, and it's probably going to be the most often run, as well as it getting Pursuit, which you could throw on there. I didn't write it here, but you could easily throw Pursuit on any set Marshadow gets, just because I feel like it will pressure Pokemon out very easily. It will kind of function as a more bulky Weavile in my opinion. Weavile's biggest threat is that it has dual stab that is super effective to a large portion of the metagame. This thing's threat will be similar to Lopunny in that it has a very high attack stat, and it gets really nice coverage, and it's going to be able to pressure Pokemon just because its stab moves alone are doing a lot of damage, even if they're not necessarily super effective. So let's go ahead and move on to the next set. Alright, this set is basically just an offshoot of the previous one. The only real difference is that instead of having 4 EVs in special attack, you just move it to special defense. You could also easily run Hidden Power Ice still, or Hidden Power Fire if you wanted to, just because Technician and having a decent special attack stat is still going to be able to do a lot of damage. The good thing about Band is that you get immediate threatening power as opposed to being just a generally nice coverage mon before, similar to Weavile. Now you get immediate damage and immediate power, and it forms more of a wall breaking kind of atmosphere with it. Its speed allows it to be a huge threat to a lot of Pokemon on the tier, and close combat with a man knocks out Ferrothorn. Spectral Thief doesn't quite knock out Slowbro if it's fully defensive, but I think the max roll is like 88% or something like that, so that's still really good. And as well as the potential to have kind of like a pseudo Moxie sweep kind of thing going on. Let's say you come up against something that's set up in SD and you outspeed it, you can come in a revenge kill. You just Spectral Thief. If you steal its boost before the damage is calculated, you get +2 attack, and then pretty much Spectral Thief just blows things out of the water from there, especially since most mons on the tier will not be outspeeding. You're actually even faster than Torn T, which unfortunately isn't in the Alola deck, so I'm not even sure what's going to go on with Generation 7, but just in reference to OU right now, this thing is absolutely amazing. Just the bandit set in general. Close combat is a really nice, reliable, hard-hitting move. Spectral Thief still has a good base power, and it's still going to be hitting pretty nicely. Just trying to guess between which two of these moves can cost you like 50% of your HP at a minimum for a lot of things. Ice Punch 2-hit KOs like those Zapdos. Just bulky flying types in general. Poison Jab is for Clefable and fairies. Like I said, fairies are this thing's biggest problem offensively, just because they check it pretty nicely, because most of them are very bulky, but Poison Jab will be able to 2-hit KO all, if not most, of the fairies. One thing I could see being an issue for this Pokemon is Klefki, not because Klefki can take hits from Spectral Thief or close combat, just because once it's in 1v1 you kind of can't stay in. You're forced to pretty much switch out because it's close combat, where Spectral Thief won't be knocking it out. You could run Fire Punch, but even Fire Punch I don't believe knocks out Klefki. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next set. Alright, so this third set is going to be, it would be a stall breaking set if it had access to taunt. Unfortunately it doesn't, so we're going to have to work with what we got. You can either run Leftovers or Chesto Berry depending on which set you wanted to run. Careful Nature just so you get the maximum amount of special defense without taking any away from attack, max HP, and 4 in defense. So we're going to have Drain Punch just to keep yourself healthy, Shadow Sneak for priority, and Bulk Up. Bulk Up allows you to not only make yourself a lot more defensive, and even having the base 90 special defense and max investment in that's going to take special hits really nicely, especially with the large HP stat. Bulk Up is going to boost your already really high attack to ginormous levels. Defense is already at base 80, so it's still going to be pretty bulky after a couple bulk ups. And then basically what you do is either just spam Drain Punch when you get weak, or for slower mons that don't resist you, and then Shadow Sneak will hit anything faster, and it's already going to have a pretty nice speed stat, but just without any investment, just because it has base 125. But Shadow Sneak being Technician boosted is going to be really awesome. It's basically if you had bulk up Sizzler, a little bit weaker than Sizzler, but Ghost is a really nice offensive move just because it's not resisted by anything barring normal and dark. If I messed up there, please don't call me out on it, or call me out on it so I don't make a mistake later, but don't jump down my throat. Rest or Will-O-Wisp are basically there because Rest, if you have Chesto, let's say you get burnt by something like a Rotom or something like that, and you want to just keep setting up alongside it just because it can't actually do much damage to you. Let's say you get up to about like +3 or something like that, and then you can just rest that off, pop the Chesto Berry, Drain Punch it, and knock it out. Substitute allows you to not have to worry about getting status because you can just get behind a stub and start bulking up, and then you can pretty much just sweep teams and you get basically a free hit while you bulk up, or go for another strong hit for things that would get 2-hit KO. And then just Will-O-Wisp is a really nice move because it makes it so things hitting you on the defensive side before you start setting up aren't going to be hitting you very hard. It also gives you passive damage on the other Pokemon. Even though it's been nerfed, it's still nice to have passive damage just for picking up those skills that you wouldn't have otherwise. So I really like this set. I could totally see it being viable and working well, and having the large amount of speed as well as the really nice bulk makes this very unique in that it can be not necessarily a stall breaker here, but it can be like a late game sweeper. In League format, this will be absolutely amazing to run a set like this, so I'm really looking forward to using something like this. Okay, so this set is similar to the previous one. The only thing different and the way that it works differently is Will-O-Wisp is your main way to take defensive hits. While you do have max defense and it's still going to be pretty bulky, Will-O-Wisp makes it so that while you're setting up home mines, you don't have to worry about something super strong coming out and blowing you back. If you can get the Will-O-Wisp off, then you can just kind of eat up hits. The other thing is that it doesn't really have any form of recovery. Drain Punch is still not necessarily recovery, but Leftovers plus Drain Punch is giving you a lot of health back when you're able to get it off. This you have to rely on Leftovers, and you pretty much just are being whittled the entire time. You could run Rest or something, or you could run like Sleep Talk, Rest, Calm Mind if you wanted to, which is actually pretty viable and it could work. So me saying it, you can imagine how it would work. But this set is just Calm Mind, Will-O-Wisp, Focus Blast, Shadow Ball. Focus Blast being its strongest special fighting move kind of sucks because everyone knows Focus Mist, like it doesn't like to hit. Shadow Ball's not the greatest move because it's kind of low in power. It's not low in power, it's just mediocre power. It doesn't have wall breaking potential, but if you can get enough Calm Minds up, then you can pretty much plow through teams, and having this nice speed stat still makes it really nice. And the bulk, of course, is wonderful, especially when paired with Will-O-Wisp. You'd have to be careful with a set like this. It would function more to the point where you'd find something that can't really hurt you very well, or you threaten out, you get a Calm Mind out, blast it with Focus Blast or Shadow Ball, switch out or Will-O-Wisp something. If it's late game, then it has a little bit more potential because it will not be so whittled, and it will be kind of a funky thing for someone to have to deal with. The best thing about Marshadow, in my opinion, is it's an offensive ghost type that gets both of those dual stabs and does not have to worry about being super effective, taking super effective damage by knockoff, as well as being pursuit trapped. So that's just absolutely beautiful. Again, these are just sets that I came up with. I'm not saying these are the only viable ones. Some of them aren't even that viable. They'd just be fun to use. Again, if you guys even have any sets that you're looking forward to on other Pokemon, please feel free to send them to me. Again, nazsanity, thank you for sending me those sets. It was pretty cool to be able to put them up here, and I'm happy to be able to shout you out. So again, if any of you guys have sets you want to throw my way, please, I insist you do. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoyed making this one, and will continue to make them up until Sun and Moon comes out, and even afterwards, and I'll do things on perhaps where you find TMs, just little gimmicks in the game. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did. I hope you guys have a great day. This has been Dom. I'm out. Peace.